And welcome back to Who Would Win. Today's Who Would Win comes to us from Madeline Spalding, who asked the question, who wins the fight? The Saint Killers, who's having a big week this week. He was just our Lantern Corps video as well, versus Alucard from Helsing. And look, I think there is an obvious answer. It doesn't mean it's a SmackDown. The Saint Killers was a killer. I want to say it was like the 1800s. He was a cowboy who was a notorious gunslinger, murderer, killer. But he did have extreme love when it came to his family. And therefore, it was the one thing that grounded his humanity. But when they were murdered, he lost all semblance of humanity and went to hell. He was then brought out of hell by Satan to go find Jesse in order to get Genesis. However, that didn't work out in his favor. Ultimately, he was tricked. And then before he was, let's call it, killed, he, I believe, sought, penance or something like that? What's the term I'm looking for here? He was able to go to heaven instead of hell when he was, quote-unquote, killed, and took God's throne. Alucard, we know, is literally Dracula. So there's not much to say. Though he did end up working for the Helsing organization after some time. From the ability standpoint, this is interesting, because Alucard is known more than anything else for his insane regenerative capabilities. The man can come back from anything, pretty much. It's due to the fact, A, the nature of his body, being a more dark red and black kind of ethereal plasma, not even ethereal, but energy, a liquid almost. He has enhanced physicality, enhanced regeneration. He has the Jackal and the Castle Magnums, which one is designed for regenerators, the other just is a good gun. He also has the Hound of the Baskerville, a hellhound that is inside of his body that he can launch at people to attack. And he's obviously can release his restraints from 1, 2, 3, or 3, 2, and 1, and 0. Release restraint level 3, 2, and 1 gives you this leather-bound form, which is all the physical enhancements that come with that. 0 obviously releases all the souls he has kept inside of him to use as he sees fit. It exposes his soul it keeps his soul exposed at its most vulnerable, but he is also at his strongest. He basically becomes Vlad Tepes, Vlad Dracula. Now, that being said, as I said, his biggest ability is his regeneration. This allows him to essentially supplant his soul with some other soul, one of the souls he's consumed, to take the lethal hit. And he can do this as many times as he needs to with as many souls as he has. Now, if we are including Schrodinger Alucard, he allegedly can't use any of his other abilities while he's Schrodinger. But because he's a quantum demon or something like that, I can't remember what Schrodinger is actually described as. All we know is he has a paradoxical existence. Basically, he is is both alive and dead, or neither, so long as he's unobserved. Which means you cannot kill him in any conventional sense. You'd have to figure out a way to undo that ability. The Saint Killers, by all accounts, is just a man, but he is highly invulnerable to pain, high pain tolerance. He cannot be killed pretty much in any notable way, nor injured. He is immortal, but he can be injured by things like hell sealing. Angel's sword. I think there was a demonic whip at one point. There are weapons that can hurt him, but they're the weapons of the divine or the demonic, and high level divine and demonic. Otherwise, he has a couple like knives and stuff, but his main weapon are his Colt revolvers, which only he can use and can kill individuals to the level of power of Satan and God themselves. Mind you, as I mentioned in the previous Saint Killers video for the Lantern Corps, those are probably some of the weakest versions of God and Satan we've actually seen. But with that being said, he did kill God and Satan in his world, which means he should be able to kill Alucard. He can also heat these guns up just by blowing on them. Apparently, his rage is so palpable it literally heats. He can literally heat the bullet up and literally fire a shot straight through the core of the earth. So with that being said, who wins in the fight? Well, if you're asking who has the better weapon, well, it's the Saint of Killers. Easy. If you're also asking who's the harder to put down, that's kind of a draw in some ways. This is due to the fact that technically the Saint of Killers is straight out immortal. But Alucard is such a taxing individual to deal with that it would just be so. I imagine the Saint of Killers honestly, frankly, getting fed up with Alucard after a while. Because yes, his gun should be able to kill Alucard. But the problem is neither Satan nor God in that show or comic series had the ability to just supplant their soul and survive that. Yeah, he could shoot Alucard straight in the head and kill him, but Alucard's soul is protected by all the millions of other souls in his body. So he'd have to literally do this over and over again. Mind you, every time he hits Alucard and hits him like straight in the head, it's a confirmed kill. The problem just is it's a confirmed kill where the soul that he the soul that gets in there is just taking its place, because that's how Alucard's regeneration works. But the flip side catch to that is that Alucard doesn't really have a weapon design that can really do anything to the Saint of Killers. The only weapons we've seen that actually the only thing that we've actually seen hurt him are weapons of both hell and heaven, and probably God and Satan had the power to hurt him too. So even though Alucard's gun is designed for individuals like, say, Anderson, none of his weapons are really designed to take on God or Satan, like straight out in his world. And by all accounts, we don't know how powerful God and Satan are in his world compared to the world of Preacher. So it's unfortunately a battle of it. I'm not saying that maybe because of just the demonic nature of Alucard at that point, and because he's a much different type of creature than we see in Preacher, that maybe he couldn't injure the Saint of the Killers. I just don't think he's straight out killing the Saint of Killers. I think in the long, drawn-out fight between the two of them, Alucard would, in fact, be the loser. But it would be long, to the point where the Saint of Killer probably would get bored and eventually leave. So, I would say Saint of Killer probably is going to win, but there's an argument to be made that Saint of Killer eventually just, because he'd have to do this millions of times. And yeah, this man is pretty patient. It's a cold, seething hatred and vengeance in them. But yeah, I'd still say the Saint of Killer would take it. This is, though, just my opinion. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.